I'm going to be honest with you. My executive producer, Bert Dubrow, and I saw this post by Shaun King. He's an activist and a journalist over the weekend. It's all about social distancing during the pandemic, but some gatherings that have recently been captured on social media might have you asking, what pandemic? For activists and journalists, as I said, this picture is worth 1,000 words, but definitely not thousands of lives. And there's a real difference between who is getting in trouble for social distancing and who isn't. And we want to have a nuanced conversation with the man himself. So Shaun King, my honest to God pleasure. I've been following you for a long time. Thank you for being here, sir. I want to show you this photo. It could be from any spring afternoon, but it's actually from New York City. And it's from this past weekend. We're showing it right now on our screen. You posted it. Tell me what's going on here, Shaun. What does this represent to you?
Well, that's in the West Village of Manhattan. And when I first saw that photo, I actually didn't even know if it was real. I knew the photo was real, but I thought maybe there was a chance it was from last spring or last summer. But the photographer who took it actually showed me the video that he took. It was from this weekend, right in the middle of Manhattan, which is the epicenter of the pandemic for the entire world. And I saw that photo after I'd seen multiple videos and photos throughout the day of black people from throughout Manhattan and Brooklyn and the Bronx being brutalized by cops for not social distancing. And so I saw this really what looked like a festival of almost exclusively white people in a privileged zip code and area of Manhattan, when just about 2 miles across Manhattan, we had photos and videos of African Americans who were gathering in groups of 3 or 4, literally being arrested and beaten by police, not for committing crimes, but just for not social distancing. So it was shocking to see this photo of people just kind of in a place of privilege while other people of color across the city were being brutalized.
Well said.
What's up, Shaun? This is Al Jackson. Just speaking from the heart, before I get to my question, I was just going to say I've been following you for years. I'm a fan of you and just a fan of your work and who you are as a human being personally, and we are better people for you.
Amen.
So thank you for joining. You always have a home here on DBL. So let's get to this, brother. The other photo that we're going to show you is an example of people congregating without consequences. You see an officer handing out masks instead of the tickets that you just spoke about. What does this photo say to you?
Well, this is in another location, and it's actually a beautiful sight. This is community policing. What shocked me, though, and again, when I first saw it, my first thing was, is this Photoshop? Is this real? Because, again, on the same day, that same police force would be in communities of color, particularly black communities all over New York, and the police would not have on masks. They would not have on gloves, and they would literally immediately get physical and rush and brutalize and arrest people just for not social distancing. I didn't even know the NYPD was passing out masks anywhere. And what I'm trying to say to people is, I don't want those crowds of white people to be brutalized. I don't want them to be arrested. We're just looking for that type of treatment and fairness and decency to happen in predominantly black and brown zip codes as well.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of this. And a lot of our DBL Nation is saying this is what we spoke about earlier. This is incredibly sad. April Phillips writing in. They say the universal, but are social distancing regulations different by neighborhood? I want you to just call it out because it seems like it is. And that's what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, absolutely. The way people are being policed in black and Latino neighborhoods around social distancing in the same city is completely different than the way we see it in predominantly white zip codes all over the country. And so it's a frustrating thing, one, because people are already suffering. People are out of work. People have lost their loved ones. I had several people who reached out to me from the zip codes and neighborhoods that were being heavily policed with a lot of brutality. And those communities are already suffering, not just from unemployment, but many of those communities have had major losses of life. And so just that they were being brutalized when they were already suffering was just a level of humiliation they didn't deserve.
Yeah.
Agreed. It's been proven, Shaun, that the coronavirus rates are dramatically different between neighborhoods. And I actually heard Ta-Nehisi Coates speak about this, and he said he thought about it like a flood. You know, obviously, you know, the higher you up in the building, the less the flood's going to hit you. But if you're in the basement, it's really going to hit you. So what do you think that race and socioeconomics have to do with this?
Sure. Well, Ta-Nehisi was right. I think the one primary factor that we see in New York and other inner cities across the country is that Black and Latino households rarely have jobs that allow them to work from home. So what you have are men and women in those households who are going to work at the grocery store, going to work as bus drivers, going to work in essential jobs that they have to have. And so while many of us get the privilege of being socially distant, in Black and brown neighborhoods, those numbers are very, very low, and it just causes them to have to interact with a lot of people who have the virus.
Wow. Shaun King, Marcus Reed writing in right now. True statement, King. Shaun King, when you speak, people stop to listen. It has been an honor and a joy, and I know Al and I really wanted to speak with you. Follow Shaun King on Instagram. He is also presiding over COVID-19 funerals because he also happens to be a pastor or a minister. I'm not sure which, but again, thank you for being here today. You are a real hero in our eyes.
Shaun, thank you.
We'll be right back.
Appreciate you both. Take care.